It's a crisp autumn evening in the heart of Studio City, California, where the Hollywood Hills whisper secrets to the stars. The clock strikes 9:15 p.m. on November 24, 2025, and the streets are quiet, save for the distant hum of traffic on Ventura Boulevard. Inside a cozy, unassuming home nestled among manicured lawns and swaying palm trees, Sandra Beth Levin, better known to the world as the devoted mother of music producer extraordinaire Benny Blanco, settles in for what should be a peaceful night alone. She's 68, with a laugh that could light up a recording studio and a heart that's produced some of the biggest hits in pop history, not through notes on a page, but through unwavering love for her sons. Little does she know, the night is about to shatter like glass under an intruder's boot. The sound that changed everything was unmistakable, a sharp, violent crash echoing through the house like a thunderclap in a silent storm. It was the sliding glass door at the back of the home, forced open with brute force by three shadowy figures cloaked in dark clothing and masks that hid their faces from the world. These weren't ghosts, they were men on a mission, driven by the cold calculus of desperation or greed, slipping into a life they had no right to touch. Sandra, ever the quick thinker, honed perhaps by years of navigating the chaos of raising a boy who would one day collaborate with the likes of Rihanna and Justin Bieber, didn't freeze. She bolted. Up the stairs she flew, her footsteps a frantic rhythm against the polished wood, heart pounding like a bass drop in one of Benny's tracks. She slammed the bathroom door behind her, twisting the lock with trembling hands, and barricaded herself inside. The air was thick with fear, the kind that clings to your skin like humidity before a downpour. Phone in hand, she dialed 911, her voice steady despite the terror clawing at her throat. "Help me," she must have whispered, or perhaps shouted details the police would later keep close to the vest. But in those agonizing minutes, as sirens wailed in the distance, the intruders weren't done. They ascended the stairs, their boots heavy on the treads, searching, ransacking. Drawers yanked open, closets torn apart, the quiet sanctuary of a mother's home turned upside down in a frenzy of theft. Jewelry, cash, heirlooms passed down from generations. The reports are vague on what was taken, but the violation was total. And then, the moment that sends chills racing down your spine, a thunderous kick against the bathroom door. Wood splintered. The lock groaned in protest. Sandra, pressed against the cool tile wall, held her breath. Would they break through? What then? In the music world, Benny Blanco crafts anthems that make millions dance without a care, but here, in the dim light of a suburban bathroom, his mother was composing her own survival ballad, one note at a time, fueled by maternal instinct and sheer will. The door held, barely, as the masked men, described only as three adults in black, faces obscured like villains in a thriller, realized time was slipping away. Sirens grew louder, closer. They fled into the night, melting into the labyrinth of Studio City's winding streets, leaving behind a trail of chaos and a family forever marked. By the time the Los Angeles Police Department burst through the front door, lights flashing, radios crackling, the house was a battlefield. Officers from the LAPD's Valley Bureau swarmed the scene, securing the perimeter, dusting for prints on shattered glass and scuffed doorframes. Sandra emerged unscathed, a miracle in a night of mayhem, her eyes wide but unbroken. No injuries, the police confirmed, but the emotional scars? Those are the ones that linger, invisible ink on the pages of a life story. The suspects remain at large, ghosts in the machine of an overburdened justice system, but the investigation presses on. Detectives combed the neighborhood for surveillance footage, those ubiquitous Ring doorbells and Nest cams that have turned every block into a low-budget detective novel. Neighbors, roused from their slumbers, whispered about the rising tide of burglaries in the area, a shadow creeping over Tinseltown's fringes. Who is Sandra Beth Levin, really? To the tabloids, she's Benny Blanco's mom, a footnote in a celebrity footnote. But peel back the layers, and she's a force of nature, a woman who raised two sons in the gritty underbelly of New Jersey before transplanting to the sun-soaked sprawl of Los Angeles. Born Sandra Beth, she shares her last name with Benny, whose real moniker is Benjamin Joseph Levin, a nod to the unbreakable bond they share. Benny, at 37, is the baby of the family, though his older brother Jeremy, also 37, a twin-like echo in their shared history, charts his own path away from the spotlight. Their father, Andrew Levin, is a figure from the past, the ex-husband whose shadow looms large in family lore. But Sandra? She's the North Star. Benny has never been shy about singing her praises, and not in the metaphorical sense. In a heartfelt 2024 interview with People magazine, he laid it bare: "Every Sunday we go to the farmer's market. I cook her lunch, we swim, we gossip about stuff. She sends me things and is like, 'Do you think it's true?' I'm like, 'I don't even know who these two people are we're talking about.'" Picture it, the Grammy-nominated producer, fresh off helming hits for Selena Gomez, his wife, since their intimate September wedding, Ariana Grande, and BTS, elbow deep in a kitchen, whipping up pasta for the woman who taught him that family is the ultimate remix. Those lazy afternoons by the pool, dissecting Hollywood rumors over iced tea, it's the stuff of envy, a reminder that even in the glare of fame, some melodies endure. Selena Gomez's entry into the fold has only amplified Sandra's role as the family's emotional DJ. At the couple's wedding, a low-key affair that somehow still made waves, Sandra was there, beaming, a special memento of the newlyweds dangling from a chain around her neck. A locket, perhaps, etched with their initials, or a snapshot of forever. Selena, with her own history of vulnerability laid bare in songs like "Lose You to Love Me," has spoken glowingly of blending families, calling Sandra the mom I always needed. It's a triad of tenderness in a town built on facades: Benny's beats, Selena's soul, and Sandra's steadfast love holding the harmony together. But rewind to that fateful night. What drives men to shatter a sliding door and storm a home like it's a heist scene from a Michael Mann film? The LAPD has noted a spike in residential burglaries across the valley, fueled by economic tremors and opportunists who scout social media for glimpses of vulnerability. A quick scroll through Instagram, Benny's feed dotted with family barbecues, could map a path to misfortune. As dawn broke on November 25th, the cleanup began. Sandra, wrapped in a blanket provided by kind-hearted officers, surveyed the wreckage, furniture upended, personal effects strewn like confetti from a party gone wrong. What was stolen? The police log is tight-lipped, standard protocol to avoid tipping off accomplices, but whispers from the neighborhood suggest heirlooms, perhaps a cherished necklace or framed photos from Benny's early days, scribbling beats in a basement. The emotional toll? Incalculable. She was terrified, but so brave, a close family friend told reporters off the record, voice cracking over the phone. Locked in there, praying, while those monsters pounded away. It's every parent's nightmare. Benny Blanco, thrust into the fray by association, was en route from a late-night studio session when the call came. Sources close to the family say he dropped everything, racing through the pre-dawn freeways to envelop his mother in a hug that said more than words ever could. By morning, he was by her side, coordinating with private security firms to fortify the home: cameras, alarms, the full arsenal of a celebrity's paranoia. Selena, ever the pillar, arrived soon after, her presence a bomb. The trio huddled in the kitchen, the same one where Benny had once plated lunches, now a war room of resilience. No public statement yet from the family. Benny's rep has been silent, as has the LAPD beyond the basics, but you can bet the producer's mind is spinning tracks of worry and wrath. This isn't just a crime story, it's a symphony of survival. Sandra's barricade wasn't mere instinct, it was a lifetime of lessons distilled into action. Raised in an era when women like her balanced checkbooks and dreams, she taught her sons that vulnerability is a verse, not the chorus. Benny, in turn, channels that into his music, vulnerable anthems like East Side with Khalid, where homesickness meets hope. I miss the feeling of family, he raps in one lyric, a subconscious echo of nights like this. And Selena? Her empire of empathy, from rare beauty to her acting chops in Only Murders in the Building, stems from a well of personal trials. Now, this intrusion tests that well, rippling through their circle like a skipped heartbeat in a love song. As the sun climbed higher over the Hollywood sign, detectives pored over clues: a discarded glove in the bushes, a partial footprint on the patio, fibers caught in the doorframe. The masks hid faces, but not motives. Were they locals down on their luck, or pros casing high-profile adjacent homes? Studio City's underbelly hides its own stars: addicts, dreamers gone astray, crews that prowl under cover of night. One neighbor, a retired screenwriter named Elena Vasquez, recounted her own close call last summer. I heard them outside, rattling the gate. Called the cops, but they vanished like smoke. Now this? It's like the hills are haunted. Haunted, perhaps, but not helpless. Community watch groups sprang to life on Nextdoor, tips flooding in, a suspicious van idling on Laurel Canyon, 3 men loitering near the Fryman Canyon trailhead. The LAPD issued a bolo, "Be on the lookout," describing the suspects as athletic builds, mid-20s, last seen heading east toward the 101. Rewards are whispered, $10,000 from an anonymous donor, Benny, more if it leads to arrests. Justice, in LA, moves at the speed of a traffic jam, but momentum builds. Sandra, back in her home by midday, refused to cower. "I'm not leaving," she told a visiting officer, chin set like the heroines in the old films she loves. "This is my house. Our house." Word spread like wildfire through the music world. Ed Sheeran, a frequent collaborator, posted a cryptic tweet, "Protect your people. Always." As evening fell on the 25th, Sandra and Benny sat on the repaired patio, stars emerging like hesitant spotlights. "What now?" she might have asked, sipping chamomile to steady her nerves. Benny, ever the optimist, grinned through the strain. "We rebuild. Stronger. And maybe I write a song about it." Imagine that track, pulsing synths over a beat that mimics a racing heart, lyrics about barricades of the soul, choruses that rise like sirens in the night. Selena chimes in with harmonies, her voice a thread of healing. It could be their next number one, a ballad born from breakage. But the story doesn't end here. The suspects are still out there, shadows waiting for their next score. Will the LAPD's net close in? Could a tip from a guilt-ridden accomplice crack the case? And Sandra, will this night forge her into an even fiercer matriarch, or linger as a scar on Sunday swims? In the glittering grind of Los Angeles, where dreams are currency and homes are fortresses, one woman's stand in a bathroom door becomes legend. It's a reminder that behind every hitmaker is a heart that beats alone sometimes, vulnerable yet unbreakable. The investigation unfolds, one lead at a time. Neighbors patrol with flashlights, apps buzzing with alerts. Benny's team eyes a GoFundMe for community security, Selena's fans rally with messages of love. And Sandra? She locks up tight, but sleeps with one eye open, dreaming of farmers' markets and family feasts. The night tried to steal her peace, but it couldn't touch her spirit. In the end, that's the real heist foiled. What happens next? Only time, and perhaps a killer playlist, will tell. Stay tuned, the beat goes on.